Hey everybody, welcome to this week's episode of Federation Nation. I am Anthony, this is Collectors Entertainment Network, and today we're going to take a look at my non-WWF magazines, some of which are often referred to as the Apter Mags. That's what we're going to take a look at this week. But before we jump into all that, I'd like to ask you guys, please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, because I'd love to have you back. Please comment down below. I want to hear your non-WWF magazine memories. Please share this video with anyone you think may like it as well. And also, please give this video a like. That helps a lot too. Also, go on over to Facebook, check out the Federation Nation Facebook group, and show off your WWF Federation year collections. I want to see them. All right, we're going to get into this. There's a stack of them. Let's do that right now. All right, guys, here we go. I got a couple up there, but all of my non-WWF magazines are held in this Tower Records bag. So that's about as thick as it gets. So that is what we're working with. I'm going to pull them out one by one. They're not going to be in any particular order, but let's start here with what is on the stand. We've got a Pro Wrestling Illustrated from May 1990. And yes, May 1990, and yet it's a picture of Hulk Hogan from like 1984, possibly 85. So that's a little crazy. On the back, you've got the wrestling ring ad for the 89 figures. How cool is that? But also for the wrestling ring inside, you've got your last chance. There's all your sort of 87s and your 88s, and even going further back here, you've got, I think, some 86 wrestlers over there. All right, we'll just go through this a little bit. I'm not going to go through it too much because I want to get through a lot of them. But you guys tell me, if you're fans of From the Pages of WWF Magazine, would you like me to go through these page by page? Because I don't have any complete runs. It's not like WWF Magazine where I've literally got from the beginning into like the mid-90s, not missing an issue. I've got, you know, Wrestling Spotlights, which we do here on the show. I've got a lot. When it comes to these, it was sort of, I was a kid, so it was like, did I have a few dollars in my pocket? And was there something that I was interested in getting? So they are not as, you know, as comprehensive as my WWF magazine collection. Looking at Rick Martel. This was in his model days, obviously 1990. And let's keep on going. Let's take a look at the centerfold, the Great Muta. Great stuff here. You always had here Wrestling Inquirer. Looked like a newspaper, I should say. Good stuff. All right, let's move on here. Super Cards 88. Always a good issue. And on the back, you could order some Pro Wrestling Illustrated VHS. Good stuff. Let's see what the centerfold is. Oh, Macho Man and Liz. Good stuff there from Wrestlemania 4. Awesome stuff. What other good stuff we got? You got, oh, it's Super Cards 88. So obviously Wrestlemania 4 was a huge part of that. And then what else we got? We've got Clash of the Champions. We've got Crockett Cup Night 1 and Crockett Cup Night 2. Good stuff. And AWA Rage in a Cage. All right, I'm going to put these back, and I'm going to grab a couple more. All right, here we go. I got a stack right here. We're going to start going through. This one right here is the July 1987 issue that I actually did not buy brand new. This is, I believe, probably the only Pro Wrestling Illustrated or non-WWF magazine that I ordered as a back issue. I think I may have ordered some more, but I know I ordered this one. I remember ordering this one because I love the Savage Steamboat match at WrestleMania 3, And I just love this cover, and I kept seeing it as a back issue, and eventually I finally actually ordered it as a back issue. So, but I think I have the, oh, I don't have the date on it. I usually have the dates, but I didn't do that. Here, look, here's my little kid writing, though. I'm circling, probably just whatever I read. I don't know. So there is the cover. Here's your back with the same VHS. I don't have the centerfold, which makes me think I hung it up at some point. I'm not entirely sure, but we can go through a little bit of this. All right, you got this cool thing right there, showing a previous cover of Hulk versus Iron, probably leading up to WrestleMania 3. Look at that. Special subscription offer to Pro Wrestling Illustrated. There's the hot rod where Great Scott, Roddy Piper turns good. Here's some guys that I don't even know who they are, but I wrote little caption bubbles for them. There, of course, is Ric Flair on the Superstation, WTBS. And here are some of the back issues that you could order. What was so crazy is, like, so this was a 1987 issue. You could order back issues of Inside Wrestling back to 1974 at this time. And The Wrestler back to 1975. I mean, you're talking, granted it was 87, but you're talking over 10 years worth of back issues you could go back and order. Here is Pro Wrestling Illustrated. You could order back to 1980 over here. So that was cool. All right, and any Pro Wrestling Illustrated would not be complete without your official ratings. I used to pour over these ratings every time I got a Pro Wrestling Illustrated. Super, super important. All right, so well, let's see the scouting report, actually. Bad News Allen, who would become Bad News Brown, Tom Zink, Austin Idol, Vladimir Petrov, Boris Zukov, and Bob Armstrong. Here is your scouting report. All right, let's keep on going. Again, these are in no particular order. Here is an issue of The Wrestler from January 1990. You got the Hulkster on the cover. The Hulk Hogan Book of Lists. And, of course, on the back, you've got your wrestling ring ad. Loved to see that. And just like the other one, inside, you've got your last chance for 86s, 87s, and 88s. You've got your thumbs up and thumbs down. Looks like Kurt Hennig and you got Larry Zbyszko on there, Magnum TA. Over on thumbs down, you got Paulie Dangerously. Looks like Jimmy Snuka and Dutch Mantell and General Akbar. And then the other thumbs up, oh, is Scott Steiner. It's hard to see going backwards looking at the monitor. So good stuff here. Up, challenge to Tully and Arn. If you think you're great, fire Heenan and prove it. This obviously was the Brain Buster days. All right. Wrestling World from March 1989. You've got Ric Flair on the cover. Your back, you've got the Road Warriors. And inside, here you go, Jim the Anvil Neidhart. Is there one on the... yep. You've got the Big Boss Man. So, guys, write down in the comments below if any of these magazines you have or you used to see them and wanted them. Love to hear that. All right. Is the Macho Man headed for Palookaville? And there is some more of the Macho Man article. All right. Keep on going. Here's a lesser known magazine, as far as I'm concerned, Wrestling Life from June 1988 with Hulk Hogan on the cover. And then you've got this back. It looks like he's facing One Man Gang. Let's see. Your inside cover is Jake the Snake. And it says that I got this May 23rd, 1988. Because me as a little kid usually wrote in all the magazines right on that first page when I got them. Got, who is that? Paul Jones? All right, moving on. What else we got? We got some Wrestling Lifeline. Good stuff. Again, this might be the only Wrestling Life issue I have. I don't remember that magazine that well. We got Sports Review Wrestling Predictions through 1998. And this was September of 88. And they've got predictions through 1998. We got to see what those predictions are. And I got this August 4th, 1988. All right. You've got your Wrestler of the Month, the Honky Tonk Man. Keep going through, seeing if we could find... Oh, you've got an interview with Dusty Rhodes. Let's see what we can find. Oh, this is a nice one. Special section. The greatest Madison Square Garden matches ever. Antonino Rocco and Miguel Perez versus Jerry Graham and Danny McShane. Looks like December 9th, 1957. Look at that. It's Bruno Sammartino versus Buddy Rogers, May 17th, 1963. Ivan Koloff versus Bruno Sammartino, January 18th, 1971. You got Pedro Morales versus Blackjack Mulligan from 71. Backlund versus Harley Race from 1980. Bob Backlund versus Jimmy Snuka from 82. And WrestleMania 1 main event, March 31st, 1985. Good stuff. All right, here are your predictions through 1998. I'm going to take a look and see if any of these came true. Okay. By 1997, Vince McMahon Jr.'s son, it says Sean McMahon, but we know it's Shane McMahon, will have assumed control of the WWF. Spurred by the success of the NWA through 1995 and 1996, McMahon will build the WWF, and this is Shane McMahon they're saying, will build the WWF into an international empire greater than his father or grandfather ever dreamed of. In 1997, one of the television season's top 10 programs will be a prime-time comedy drama featuring WWF stars. And then in quotes, Shane will say, "My father simply thought too small when he was in charge." Yeah, that didn't happen. Not even a little bit. I mean, WWF was spurred on by the success of the NWA, which at the time was WCW, in 95 and 96. But not into that. So that's interesting. Let's read some more. Oh, this is a good one. Continuing where we were, having already built the WWF into an international empire, Sean McMahon, again, we know it's Shane McMahon, will turn it into an empire of literally astronomical proportions in 1998 by holding the WrestleMania 14 main event in space. Space. I'm sure if Vince could have, he would have. Anyway, let's keep on finding some predictions. Okay, frustrated by their inability to win another World Tag Team title, the Road Warriors will split up in 1990 in order to pursue singles titles. A feud between Hawk and Animal will erupt over the use of Paul Ellering's managerial services, culminating in a main event at a major NWA card in 1991. Either the Great American Bash or Starrcade 91, in which the two warriors will battle so violently they'll cripple each other. Neither warrior will ever wrestle again. And that, my friend, is just some of the predictions through 1998 from Sports Review Wrestling from September 1988. I hope you guys... Moving on. So, we've got Wrestler Annual. Oh, this is even, what the stars have in store for your favorite wrestlers. Here you go. Here's their zodiac signs from fall 1988. All right, Wrestler Annual. And here you go. There's Rick Rude. Greg Valentine from like 1978 picture. Sure. I mean, the Rude one's obviously, that looks like it's a pretty recent picture, but this Greg Valentine picture, Seriously. Is that from like 78, maybe 81? Like, I don't know. And Steve Williams. Good stuff. All right, let's keep on going. Let's look here. They can stand on their own. Don't compare Demolition to the Road Warriors. I like Demolition. I was a WWF kid, so obviously I like Demolition. Wrestling Fever from January 1989. And we've got this on the back. What do we got? Looks like we've got some centerfold in here. Oh, it's coming out. It's not even really a centerfold as much as it's just like they put some colorful, you know, 8x10s next to each other. All right. Got this November 29th, 1988. And got some good, what is this? Macho Man. Randy Savage versus Ted DiBiase in a steel cage. It's the Fever fight of the month. You can barely see the pictures. Not the highest quality of magazines. All right, Inside Wrestling from January 1989. Here you go. We've got that right there. And this is January 1989, so these guys are still your newest wrestlers. The 89 ones haven't come out yet. Because first of all, it's January 89, which means it was bought November of 1988. That's when I bought it. Look at all that cool stuff. Look, you can order the watches. And you can order the little kids' belts. Good stuff. The wrestling ring. I wish we could still order those old guys. Those are those Pro Wrestling Illustrated VHSs. Again, guys, if you want to see me go through maybe a magazine at a time, page by page, I will do that. We'll have to make another show of it because I don't want to take over this show, Federation Nation. Obviously, it doesn't fit in from the pages of WWF Magazine, but it can be its own show. Memo to the WWF, ban the helmet or ban Hulk Hogan. Oh, yeah, he wore a helmet with a big fist on it for a while. 10 reasons why Sting cannot defeat Barry Windham. All right, good stuff there. We keep on going. April 1988, The Wrestler. Full color insert of wrestling's greatest day. What was wrestling's greatest day? Probably, I think it was Survivor Series 87, because there was a Starrcade, the Survivor Series, and World Class had something going on that day. This I got February 17th, 1988. And here we go. Yeah, wrestling's greatest day. It's like the centerfold, but it actually came out, so I could just show you. Yeah, there's your Starrcade stuff. Oh, I actually had this pinned to the wall. You can see there's tape and stuff. Here's your Survivor Series stuff. And then AWA had a spectacular and World Class Action had something going on. Pretty cool. Oh, former partners Juan Tino Santana. Rick Martel will destroy Strikeforce. How true is that? I mean, they had just won the tag team titles, but eventually, in a couple of years, Rick Martel will destroy Strikeforce. I guess they had it all figured out. All right, here are your official ratings from the Wrestler magazine. Just like Pro Wrestling Illustrated, the Wrestler always had your ratings, and I would pour over those and say like, oh, that's not fair. Macho Man should be number 1 or number 2, but he's down at 4. Or, yeah, all the time. All right, April 1988. Here is Pro Wrestling Illustrated. Got this also February 16th, 1988. As is right there, and you could see all the little gadgets you could send away for. Here's your back cover. I still have the centerfold in there. It is Rick Martel. Speaking of Rick Martel from the previous issue. And then, of course, you've got your close-up. It's all about Rick Martel. There's the centerfold. And then here his, he did a little breakdown. Greatest match, favorite maneuver, toughest opponent, most hated opponent. Good stuff. Oh, and here, who survived the Survivor Series? It's, I guess around this time. I got both of these issues February of 88. So I'm thinking my dad took me to California to visit my brother who was living out there at that time. My mom and my sister stayed home. So my dad just took me, and that's about when I went. So I either got these magazines beforehand so I'd have something to read on the flight, or I got them, my dad bought them for me while I was out there. I would have to check the dates. But I remember having these two magazines, this one and this one, for that California trip. Again, I either got them right before we left so I'd have something to read on the flight, or I got them when we were in California. I don't remember exactly. I might have to check the dates if I could. But that I remember that, because I remember it was I remember the magazines that I had with me out there were all about the Survivor Series. All right, good stuff. Keep moving on. We've got from spring 1988, Pro Wrestling Illustrated Annual. Good stuff. There's your front. There's your back. Keep doing ads for these VHS. I mean, but they're Pro Wrestling Illustrated promoted VHS. All right, what do we have in here? All right, not really a centerfold, but you got Tommy Rich and Ronnie Garvin, two separate pictures. Here you've got the Midnight Express with Jim Cornette. And the first one you've got is Honky Tonk with the Mouth of the South, Jimmy Hart. All right, I'm going to grab another stack. All right, I've got another stack here, and I'm going to show you this, but I got no cover. But this is important, because this is the first wrestling magazine I ever got. It is a Pro Wrestling Illustrated with Ric Flair on the cover. I'll try and find a picture of that on the internet and pop it in right here so you know which issue I am talking about. But that was it, and this is what is left of it. First magazine I ever got. Before I ever got a WWF magazine, I got this Pro Wrestling Illustrated, like I said, but it has been torn to shreds. I got it. It is from, I think it's the October 87, which is ironic. I got the October 87 WWF magazine is the first I ever got. But these, if you remember, WWF magazine came out about a month ahead of time. Pro Wrestling Illustrated, all of them came out like 3 months ahead of time. So if it was the October 87 issue, that means, I mean, I got it in like July, maybe early August or something like that. So there's that. But I still actually have the centerfold in place. And that's Ted DiBiase. So we're going to move on from that. And I also have this other sort of destroyed magazine. And that is Wrestling Scene. So I don't know exactly where I got this, because I didn't get this brand new. But the reason why I want to show you is how cool is this. I'm going to take it off. Look, your AWA Remco ad. And for all of you out there who might want to know, interesting story. 1986, I wanted wrestlers. I wanted LJN wrestlers, but I didn't even know there were other kinds of wrestlers, right? And I told my mom what I wanted for Christmas, and I think I said wrestling figures. So what did I get Christmas 1986? I got AWA Remco's, I got the ring, and I got the championship belt, which I just recently found a picture of me wearing. I'll put that in right here, too, if you want to see. All right, but I got all the AWA guys. So, I mean, I kind of knew who Ric Flair was and the Road Warriors were, but I remember I got this, yeah, I got the Road Warriors as a set. I got this Rick Martel versus Baron Von Raschke as a set. And I got Ric Flair versus Larry Zbyszko. Was that a set? Because those were the guys I had. So, but I just think it's cool to show off that. All right, let's keep on going with some other magazines that are in a little better shape. All right, guys, keeping it going. 1988, the year in wrestling. Here's your front. Here is your back. I don't know if I've got any. I got some of it. Some of the color stuff. You've got Most Hated Wrestler of the Year, Andre the Giant. Match of the Year, you got Hulk Hogan versus Andre the Giant from the main event. See, there's the double referees, all that good stuff. All right, here are your Tag Team of the Year, the Road Warriors. And your unofficial, official awards for 1988. All right, we keep on moving. And again, guys, if you want to see these in a video, let me know and I will do that. All right, cleared off the music thing because it was about to tip over. Here's another one. This is a big magazine. Look at this. Superstar Wrestlers Photo Album. And this is from, there we go. January 1988 is the date. I don't know exactly when I got it, but there it is. It's a bigger magazine than your typical magazine. It's almost like the old WWF magazines. I don't know if you noticed this, but the WWF magazines, you know, first of all, they went to Victory magazine and WWF magazine. They started bigger and they got smaller and smaller and smaller, you know, like both height and width. Smaller and smaller and smaller. Here's some cool stuff. Here's Sting. He's there and he's on the back. Good stuff. There's King Kong Bundy. I think I had a lot of these up in my room. Yeah, Bret, yep, look, you can see the tape. I eventually took them off and put them back in the magazines that they came with. Hawk versus Lex Luger. Here is Dr. Death Steve Williams. Good stuff. Magnificent Morocco versus Ivan Putski. Nikita Koloff versus Lex Luger. Let's see if we can put these back the proper way, or if it even really matters. But good stuff. All right, let's put it back. Here's another magazine that is definitely older, because this is sort of your Attitude Era, I think, because it mentioned 12 color pages of WrestleMania 13 coverage. Oh, WrestleMania 13, Undertaker wins the belt. So it is the very beginnings of the Attitude Era. So this is probably the newest of any of these magazines that I have. I don't know why they're showing pictures of Andre the Giant. And it's Hogan versus Bundy and Andre. Yeah, here's some WrestleMania 13 stuff. So, alright, keep on moving. This one's in kind of rough shape. I think I got this from a friend, but it's the February 1988 Pro Wrestling Illustrated. Front, it's kind of ripped off. There is no back cover. And I do have the poster. And someone faked that Ronnie Garvin signed it, but that's not, he didn't. So, alright, moving on. Alright, November 1989, Sports Review Wrestling, Hulk Hogan's Toughest Matches. And more of that. And again, we are just skimming the surface on these magazines. If you want to see a page-by-page turn, maybe I will start another show based on that. It'll be a limited amount, but we could see. Hulk Hogan's Toughest Matches. We've got versus Bob Backlund from June 81 and versus David Schultz from September of 83. Obviously, the Bob Backlund was WWF, but the David Schultz in 83 would have been the AWA years. February 85 versus Brutus Beefcake, and December 85 versus Big John Studd. March 87 versus Andre the Giant, and February 89 versus Big Boss Man. February 89 versus Dino Bravo, and April 89 versus Randy Savage to finish out that article. All right, April 1992, Inside Wrestling, from Hitman to the Man. Bret Hart is WWF's only true champion. Well, later that year, he would become the WWF champion. I got this March 5th, 1992 at Woody's Goodies, which was a stationery store in my hometown. Let's check out the rankings. Oh, here's the Bret Hart. Bret Hart is the WWF's only true champion. Pretty cool stuff. Where are those rankings? Do they have them in Inside Wrestling? All right, I guess they don't have it here, but here's a cool interview with Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. Moving on. Inside Wrestling from February 19. Rude's out, Piper's in, and the fans love it. There is the cover. Again, always with the wrestling ring ads on the back. Good stuff. And here is that article. We've got from December 1989, Pro Wrestling Illustrated, The Young and Restless, the NWA's future is in their hands. Pretty cool stuff. Let's check out the centerfold. Who is it? It's Jimmy Snuka, the Superfly. Of course, this is in his return to WWF, but I guarantee this picture is from a lot earlier than that. All right, let's see if we can find... Oh, you know what I loved, and I loved this in Pro Wrestling Illustrated, was the Arena Report. Especially if I had gone to one of the shows, because I used to go to the shows at Nassau Coliseum. You guys have seen some episodes, Federation Nation, where I've mentioned the shows I've gone to, but I love the Arena Report. This was one of my favorite parts, because you just kind of could keep track of it. And I know it's just like, Bad News Brown beat Sam Houston. Tim Horner defeated Barry Horowitz. I mean, that's all you got. But it was just, I don't know. I just love this Arena Report. And of course, you would also see what was going on in the other federations. I was a WWF kid, you know, true WWF kid, but I would pretty much only the NWA keep tabs on because they were on WTBS. Plus, Ric Flair was always on the cover of magazines. Plus, I would buy these magazines. So I would keep tabs on NWA. I would occasionally watch Saturday Night or any of the other, you know, TBS shows. So that is, I'm not going to say I was a huge fan. I was a WWF fan. Don't get me wrong. But I did check in with and keep tabs on NWA throughout my wrestling fandom back then as a kid. All right, here are the rankings for this month. And there is also an interesting ad that I just saw in here. Let's see if I can find it. Here we go. Wrestling World. Did anyone buy wrestling figures from them? Only $10.49. You got Honky Tonk Man, One Man Gang. I don't think I ever bought it from them, but we definitely ordered it from the Wrestling Ring. Multiple occasions. All right. Wrestling World from November 1989. You've got Macho Man Randy Savage on the cover. You got the Hulkster up there. Your back is the Road Warriors. And let me see. Yeah, you got some nice full color photos. Brutus the Barber, Beefcake. Oh, yeah, you got a bunch. What do we got? Michael Hayes, Medusa. You have a centerfold of Dr. Death Steve Williams, obviously fighting Bam Bam Bigelow. You got Sting, and you've got Andre the Giant versus Hulk Hogan. And then the Great Muta. All right, cool stuff. This is a nice magazine. All right, moving on. All right, moving along. We've got The Wrestler from November 1989. Roddy Piper pins Randy Savage, and Hulk Hogan is scared stiff. Is he now? Is he? And this is from November 1989, and they've still got the old ones. Now, granted, November 1989, I mean, well, I got this in October, but it probably still came out in like August or September. So I don't think the 89 ones, the figures were there yet, as they would later say that they are here. Oh, scratch that. They are here, but they're in animation form. Look at that. They're here. All new 1989 WWF action figures. Ultimate Warrior, Andre the Giant, Big Boss Man, Ravishing Rick Rude. Obviously, you can get your ring, and you can get WrestleMania games. Pretty cool. WrestleMania handheld game. Good stuff. I had the WrestleMania Challenge handheld game, which I thought was gone, and I recently just found, and I'm going to put that in a video. I'm going to put that in a video with sort of like odds and ends of stuff. I just kind of came up with that idea a few days ago. Just some odds and ends of WWF memorabilia I have that I can't make a whole video about each one individually, but I definitely want to show you. So I think the best way to do it is do like an odds and ends. So look for that in the coming weeks. All right, Sports Review Wrestling from October 1989. Savage versus Hogan. SummerSlam will not end this war. There is your back. Good stuff. Let's see. Do I have the centerfold? I do not. If this has a centerfold, not sure. But here is the article. Savage versus Hogan. SummerSlam will not end this war. Now, guys, if you think I'm going through these too quickly, go ahead and write down in the comments below, hey, make a show about these magazines. Go through them page by page like you do with the WWF magazines. And if there's anyone in particular you see that you want me to go page by page, so I'll do it. If you guys want it, I'll do it. Here we go. Inside Wrestling, September 1989. You got Savage is shamed by Hogan. You got some Lex Luger there. You got some Dusty Rhodes there. Here is your action figures. Again, they've got the animated version of them. They hadn't gotten their pictures taken yet. But hey, they still had them there. All right. News from the wrestling capitals. Good stuff. We've got a few more to get through. We've got 3 more to get through. September 1989, The Wrestler. Here you go. It looks like it's probably going to be something similar to the other ones. Yep. As far as that goes. I don't want to just keep showing you that. I'm sure there's other things you want to see. I saw the official ratings. Again, I can't tell you how much I would just pour over these. All right, and these last 2 were some of my favorite non-WWF magazines, and I'll show you a little bit. And they were Wrestling's Main Event because they were like much higher quality. It wasn't full color, you know, but there was a lot more color in them. And this is from May 1989. May 1989 is the dated, and it actually says right on the front, display until 4/26. So display until April 26, the May 1989 issue. So that's, you know, you couldn't actually sell it in May. Now, Wrestling's Main Event. You got Wahoo McDaniel versus Manny Fernandez. Of course, every magazine had the wrestling ring ads. Good stuff. See, you'd have some like color pages towards the beginning, right? Good stuff. You know, get some, you know, pin-ups as you would. And then you'd go still higher quality paper, but it would be, you know, black and white. And then in the middle, you'd get back to some color pages, some pin-ups, and even just some articles with some, you know, good color photos. And that would be the middle. And then you'd go back to, you know, sort of black and white for a little bit. And then towards the back, you'd get back to the color photos. So this was always one of my favorite non-WWF, and I only have 2 of them. It's funny. But I didn't see them everywhere. This one, I believe I want to say I got it at a drugstore called Genevieve's, which I didn't go to often enough. It was in my hometown, but it was sort of on the other side of town. Didn't get to quite often, and I got this June 17th, 1988, and it was the August 1988 issue, and there is Wrestling's Main Event. And this was my first introduction to this magazine. So, I mean, I remember seeing this and getting it and loving it, and then this might have been the next one I saw. So this is August of 88, and this one's May of 89. It might have been the next one I actually saw in a store, and I jumped all over it. But again, here you go. Some awesome, you know, color on the cover, you know, the inside cover. And you go in, and the first few pages would be black and white, and then they'd get back to color. Who do we got? Al Perez challenges the NWA's best. Here's a wrestling ring ad. Now, I'm getting for Christmas, I wrote, and I've got little asterisks and stars, and see what it says. Only $12.50. And when was this? This was August 88, so this is what I was getting for Christmas 88. They actually have Jimmy Superfly Snuka, and he was not available to buy anymore. So by 1988, I don't know why they even have him. I'm getting for Christmas, the ones with the asterisks. So the Dynamite Kid is there, and which I did get. I got the Bulldogs. I got the tag team set. The Dynamite Kid, I don't even see you know, Davy Boy, but I did get the Bulldogs tag team set. I got Hacksaw Jim Duggan, One Man Gang, Ted DiBiase, and Ken Patera. Those are the ones I got. So I don't know if I did this after the fact or I told my mom which ones I wanted. I don't remember. But anyway, here we go. Randy Macho Man Savage, new WWF champion. A champion to be proud of. Wrestler of the month. So the first few pages are black and white. But then we have WrestleMania 4 Savage takes the title. And then we start to get into color photos. And they start showing some of the tournament for the title, which is good stuff. And your centerfold, new WWF World Champion, Randy Macho Man Savage. Alright, guys. That is going to be it for this episode of Federation Nation. Again, if you want to see any of these, or all of these, in a more in-depth way, let me know in the comments below. I will definitely read what you say and see if we want to make a show about that. Other than that, guys, I'd like to ask you, please subscribe to the channel. Please comment down below. Please like this video, and please share this video with anyone you think may like it as well. And go on over to Federation Nation's Facebook group and join over there. All right, I guess that's about it for this episode of Federation Nation. So until next time, guys, have a good one.